So, Lewis, what time is it, mate?
6 o'clock.
You know what that means?
Bourne Property Show.
Facebook Live.
There we are. Good evening, everybody. It's 6 p.m. and we're live again Thursday evening here at the office in North Street in Bourne. Myself, Lewis Thorogood, sales manager, joined by my able assistant, Mike Hollenby, operations manager. Evening, Mike. How you doing?
Good evening, Lewis. Good to be with you again this fine Thursday evening.
As always.
Another week's rolling on.
As always.
So, Lewis, over the last week, how have we got on? Obviously, since last week's show, which was, again, a very topical subject we covered last week, how have we got on with our sort of viewers and activity since last week?
Yeah, really good. Yeah, again, a lot of people coming and tuning in and watching both on the night and indeed obviously in the rebroadcast, which has been put up since Monday. Just shy of 2,000 people viewing, which is absolutely fantastic.
Right.
Some great feedback, some great comments from people as well, which is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, really can't complain at all. It's great that everyone's tuning in and listening to us for half an hour. Go on.
Thank you very much, everybody. As we say every week, that this show is all about you and obviously property, which is obviously close to everybody's hearts. Whenever you're out and about, socialising, talking to your friends, it's one of the main topics that comes out about is what's happening in the local property market. So again, if you're getting involved this evening, what we want you to do as always is just send us a little comment in the little box at the bottom of your screen there, just to say hello to us, let us know you're out there so we can give a shout out to you as well. Again, the big thumbs up for us again always helps us again just to let us know that you're watching and you're getting involved. And again, if there's a particular comment that you agree with or think is relevant, don't forget to hit the heart. So again, just so we can see that involvement and we know who's out there as well. We often have some regulars on there every single week. So again, we just want to say thank you all for tuning in and taking part. So Lewis, what's coming up on tonight's show? Yeah,
busy as ever. We've tried to put a lot of different topics in and try and keep things as varied as possible as we do week by week. And I'll discuss what we're going to do with our viewer poll in a moment. We'll go through that shortly. But we've got a bit of an article about first-time buyers tonight,
okay.
And something that you picked up on when you came into the office this afternoon.
I did, yeah.
And something which I've been a bit of research in terms of the fact that first-time buyers, in terms of numbers, are at a record high in the decade. We've got our usual slots. We've got question of the week.
Yep.
We've also got the Why I Love Bourne slot, and indeed we've got a second topic this evening as well. And as we discussed last week, it's all about that big burning issue that's going to arise shortly, all about the proposed council tax rises.
Fantastic. So another crammed show as always this week. So let's get cracked on straight away in regard to tonight's hot topic. So tonight's hot topic, again, is something that has been sort of brewing a little bit just in regard to the estate agency media and in our industry, and again on Property Eye, which we all get sent through to us, which is one of the leading sort of industry magazines. Some interesting articles coming through this week in regards to the amount of first-time buyers that are back in the marketplace. That's now at a record high. It's something that, like you said earlier, as soon as I walked through the office, we said, look, we need to be covering this topic. And you have done just that. So
I do work even when you're not here. So
I understand you have a question that you want to send out to the public and the audience out there.
Yeah, very much so.
Far away.
Bit of a viewers poll this evening. Obviously, it'd be great to get everybody's input, everybody's views on that. Twofold, two things that we've picked up on since we've done a bit of research in this first-time buyer bubble. I would suggest that seems to have been created of recent. The first question I'd love people to give their comments and their input on is what they think an average price for a 2-bedroom first-time buyer home is currently in the market. So just comment, just put your thoughts down how much you think an average 2-bedroom, we'll just say for the sake of the argument, modern semi-detached home is currently. And another question to attach to that as well. How much do you think the average mortgage taken out, so how much do they actually borrow as a first-time buyer, currently they're borrowing? So they're two really important questions which we'll come on to a little bit later on.
Fantastic. So as Lewis said there, keep popping those comments into that little comment box at the bottom of your screen. Send that in. Lewis will start firing away. I can see we're getting a few replies in on that already, so great. Thanks to get your interaction on that. Really useful subject, as I say, because obviously the rest of the housing market is often influenced by the first-time buyer market. If that market seizes up, you then tend to find that the rest of the knock-on market going above that then can come to a grinding halt, which is why the government is obviously very keen on making sure that they control inflation. They are keeping a close monitor on employment, because these are the things that will affect first-time buyers, being able to put a deposit together, being in the position then to have that deposit ready to buy that property, and also making sure, as we've been talking over the last few weeks, that there are the actual properties available either on the new build or on the resale markets to meet that demand for first-time buyers. So the fact that the market is back with first-time buyers usually indicates that, the first question in regard to the housing shortage, that gap might be getting sort of smaller, that perhaps the government are actually meeting that need. And again, for those people who've been watching the broadcast over the last few weeks, you'll be aware that that has been part of our hot topic for the last few weeks or so. So, Lewis, if you want to fire away and give us some answers just in regards to those questions and give us a bit of information about what's happening with the first-time buyer market.
Yeah, very much so. The biggest thing which has come out, obviously not only from doing any research, but also come out from some of the major lenders, in particular reports that we've got here, which we're going to quote some information from the Halifax, which is obviously one of the major lenders, and some of the information we've got has been sourced via Zoopla, who do a lot of their research, both nationally and indeed more locally as well. In terms of, and I've got some things coming in, so I'll just comment on what people are saying. So let's fire away. Nicholas said £140,000 for. I presume that might be the average price for a 2-bedroom property in Bourne. Arta has put £125,000 average price, 75% mortgage requirement. Mandy's put £140,000, and also that the average mortgage would be £100,000. And Nicola's put an average 80% mortgage.
Okay, good. So again, thanks for getting involved there and just replying back with those comments. So, Lewis, can you fill us in any more then?
Really, really interesting that the average number of first-time buyers has soared to a record. And I'm just going to give you a quote from the Halifax on a national number. And as it stands at the end of December of 2017, there were 359,000 first-time buyers nationally looking to get onto the housing ladder, which is a tremendous increase. Looking at the figures that the Halifax quoted back in 2016, at the same time, 280,000.
That's a big difference.
Very much so. And I think there's a few different factors to come into that, and this is something that I've seen over the years, and especially probably since the housing market price change of the kind of late 2007-2008 period. The education's been the big thing. A lot of first-time buyers have now been educated that you've got to go and save that deposit. A lot of, and we've touched on previous shows about the fact that there's a lot of people and mums and dads and grandparents that are gifting deposits, that are even looking to sell the family home to release equity. They will downsize and gift a deposit to their son or daughter. It's a real commonplace of what we're seeing in the market in this day and age and where we're at. And there's a few different factors to why the number of first-time buyers have hit as they are. First and foremost, obviously, the government are doing their best to try and help. There's the Help to Buy ISA. Even today I've got a couple of clients that are actually buying a property for ourselves that have got one of the Help to Buy ISAs.
Fantastic.
And they've cashed it in and they've got that to assist with their mortgage.
So just to explain on there, the buyer saves some into an ISA, standard ISA, and then the government are then topping that up. Is that right?
That is correct.
Fantastic.
That is correct.
Great screen.
And really what's the interesting part about this is the fact that, again, the Halifax are reporting that a decade ago, the average deposit required for a first-time buyer was £17,500.
Okay.
Now, the average, again, national average, just over £33,000.
Okay.
Such a hike, and obviously things like the Help to Buy ISA, the Help to Buy scheme with new builds, where obviously the government and potentially the developer, depending, can assist with the deposit there on being able to purchase that, as well as obviously, as we discussed last week, the change in stamp duty. With stamp duty being abolished up to £300,000 for all first-time buyer purchases.
Very good point.
There's a few things there which have been brought in to help the first-time buyers along.
Well, that seems to obviously be working. working. Could one of the reasons why that deposit has sort of increased from that 17.5 to over 30 often be based on the asking price of the property? The values of the properties over the last 10 years have also dramatically increased.
Very much so, very much so. And a couple of people have made comments on the post tonight on our live page about the percentage potential mortgage or deposit that's required.
Okay.
All the figures that we are discussing tonight are based on 10 to 15% deposits,
Okay.
which is the national average for a first-time buyer deposit.
Okay. Again, going back to the times, when we were getting deposits and things, the 95% loan to value, 5% deposit would get the deal done, and there were some fantastic mortgage products available then. I think that having had the crash and obviously having then seen how sort of people have seen equity wiped out their value of their properties and a real slowdown in the marketplace, I think a lot of people sort of a bit cautious, maybe even the 100% mortgages you could get in days gone by. Then it went to 95, and I think a sensible sort of lending criteria is coming more into play, that 10% is a sensible amount really to be putting down, and again that will get you the better mortgage lending rates as well. So with tradition you'd say a 20-25 year mortgage, the more of a deposit you can get down, the better the rate potentially that the lender's still lending.
Yeah, totally. And of course, again, all a part of the education, and this will kind of come up a lot more, I think, when it comes to moving forward. We've got next week Elaine from Sure Move coming in to talk about the conveyancing side of the business. And indeed we have Neil, who unfortunately couldn't come in this evening due to his diary of first time buyers. He's going to be coming in a couple of weeks' time to develop on that first time buyer kind of market as well. But the other big thing is, as you quite rightly said, mortgage rates are really low at the minute. Employment's at an all-time high, which has helped a lot as well, and that's really helping when to put everything together.
Okay.
And there's also some really interesting information from South Kesteven District Council.
So how are they looking to help, in regard to the local council, South Kesteven, Lincolnshire County Council? What are they doing to also assist with what the government are wanting to do then on a local basis?
2 or 3 years ago, something called the Local Authority Mortgage Scheme began, and South Kesteven District Council pledged £5 million into that pot, and this was a government-wide thing, but £5 million into the pot, as much as many of the local authorities around the country did, to assist with the Help to Buy schemes, to assist with the Help to Buy ISAs, and just to really help first-time buyers get onto the ladder.
Brilliant.
And again, it goes full circle to one of our articles 3 weeks ago now about the government's pledge to build 300,000 new homes in the next 2 or 3 years as a part of the overall housing development scheme.
Fantastic, great. Really informative there. Hopefully that's given you a bit of an indication. So if we can just nail those figures down a little bit then, Lewis, and give some answers in regard to what the average first-time buyer price is that people are purchasing at the moment. If we can also have a look at obviously what type of mortgage they're needing to take to get that property, and obviously therefore what deposit they're needing to get. Let's get those 3 figures down then.
Yep, so in response to everybody's comments, and please keep them coming in because it's great to see what people are saying, based in the Bourne area, in terms of an average 2-bedroom property, currently, and these are figures currently provided again by Zoopla for the Bourne area, an average 2-bedroom property purchase price is between 163 to 169,000.
Okay.
So that's your current purchase price for a 2-bedroom home, which people are quite right in some of the comments of, a 2-bedroom property being the 140 region. They've been driven a lot, not only by the market, but also by the developers as well. New build properties always come at a bit of a premium because they're brand new.
Fantastic.
Average mortgage, so based again on a 10 to 15% deposit, so you'd be looking obviously an 80 to 85% mortgage. The average, £138,000 to £140,000 is borrowed by a first-time buyer to achieve what they need to.
Okay, fantastic, great.
And that deposit, therefore, again varies between £17,000 to £24,000. That's not including the costs they'd need to find for fees.
Okay, fantastic, great. hopefully you found that of interest. Obviously, the higher up the property value and the higher up the market you're going, obviously those figures can change quite significantly. So again, if you are interested in getting an up-to-date figure in regard to all the costs of moving, look back to our broadcast from last week where we gave some examples from selling at 150 and buying up to 225. That will then tie in again. We've looked at the first time buyer market, the second and third time market there, and as Lewis says earlier, we've got Elaine coming over from Shore Move next week, and then Neelay, who's from the Mortgage Advice Bureau, coming in 2 weeks time. So it'd be great to have some more faces behind this desk doing some
because people are getting bored of our faces, I should imagine.
Okay, so fantastic. So that covers tonight's topic.
Hi again, I'm with Richard from Jesse Bellamy's on North Street in Bourne. And Richard, you've got a question for us regarding the property market.
Yes, I heard last week that there's going to be council tax increases, and just wondering how that's going to affect the residents of Bourne.
So you mentioned you popped down the road and saw Richard.
Yes. And
the question that he put forward was that he saw, again in the news as I did last week, as I was driving into the office last Thursday, that the council are proposing to increase council tax bill. Nationally on average of around about 2.5%, but again we promised that we would dig into that a little bit, and you've come back in with some staggering figures really in regards to what the local council are proposing to do in the April review of the council tax. So shed some more light on that for us, yes?
Yeah, quite staggering really. As you quite rightly said, there is a nationwide proposal to increase council tax, and there is a variation on that, and anything that's below 3% can get sanctioned and authorised both at local and national level without having to go through to a referendum. Anything above 3% would need to go to a referendum and to be looked into in a lot more detail.
Okay.
So they've been very, very clever in how they propose, and these do vary from both county and indeed council local authority to where you're based. But based in South Kesteven, where we are today, they are proposing a rise of 4.95% come April, which does go to consultation towards the end of this month. Obviously your council tax bills will be landing on your doorsteps late March, early April. We all look forward to that envelope coming through the door. It's the only bill we are guaranteed to get through the door. But 4.95% is the proposed rise.
Okay. So, are they giving any reason behind the fact that that's nearly double what the national would be? So, if you can answer that firstly, and then secondly, could we maybe have a look at what some of the council bands are, and maybe what that increase will work out to be over the year, the increase for us as well?
Yeah, very much so. So the proposed rise is potentially to go up to a general 2.95% council tax rise.
Okay,
so that will enable them to trigger that without a referendum or a further consultation taking place.
Great.
The rest of that percentage is made up predominantly, again this is coming very much from the budget that came in obviously latter end of last year, a lot of it is being brought up in social care.
Okay.
So that 2% addition is social care charges.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, and then if we can perhaps look at those bandings, as I say, we've tried to look at obviously what is the average banding of a property in the Bourne area, and that's somewhere often between a B and a C maybe.
They're your averages. Yeah, they're your averages for the Bourne area.
So let's have a look at what the actual current maybe rate that they're paying at the moment and how much that's going to increase over the year, based on the percentage we said, and obviously then have a look at what that final bill may well be, subject to obviously the discussions at the end of this month. So let's get some facts and figures down on where we think that's going to end up.
Okay, well as it stands at the moment, and I'm basing this purely in Bourne, obviously the villages can vary, but we'll use Bourne as a starting point if we may. And these are the standard council tax charges, not including any sort of single occupancy discounts or any other discounts that could be applicable, subject to an application, of course. So a standard council tax band B comes in at just over £1,200, 1,202, and I'll even throw in the 71 pence for you. So on the basis of a 4.95% rise, that would mean you're paying just shy of an extra £60 per year on a council tax band B, which would take it up there to just roughly speaking around about £1,265 when you put the pence together.
Okay, no problem. Let's jump forward maybe a couple couple of bands.
Yep.
And we'll have a look at a D. So if we have a look on, obviously you've very kindly produced us a little chart on
Yes,
here.
I was allowed to come and do my art attack hour this afternoon and cut
good.
and paste and all sorts.
So let's have a look at a band D. What's the increase, just in regard to the pounds and pence over the year, what the increase will be in that band?
So as it stands at the moment, your band, council tax band B for Bourne is £1,546.
Yep.
So that's what would be an average 4-bedroom detached house in the Bourne marketplace. Again, based on a 4.95% rise, you're going to be looking to pay an extra £76.54 per year.
Yep.
So therefore, it's going to be taking you up to around about £1,630 per year.
Fantastic, great. So really informative again. We'll keep you posted on how that develops over the next few weeks as well. Keep an eye on the local press and the national press just to see how that's going to affect you, because it will affect you. It will be coming out of your back pocket at the
Very
end
much
of the
so.
So, any other comments that we're getting through? Any other interactions? Do we need to give out some shout-outs?
Just a good evening, and blimey, they're all coming in at the minute. I've never been so popular. Good evening to John. Oh, that kid doesn't count, it's me dad.
No,
but Paula, Beverly, Jane, Lucy, Phil, Katie Hollenby, I'm guessing a relation there. There we go. Doesn't count. But Paul, Mel, Paul Renison, who obviously we know, Marina, Nicola. Paul saying really good show. Hope it's going well, guys. It is, Paul. Thank you. So great to have everybody joining in tonight and watching us on this broadcast. I'm here with Lorraine and John from the 2Js in the Burley Centre in Bourne. So, John, Lorraine, you've been here such a long time, since I've been a kid. What do you love about working in Bourne and living in Bourne?
We just love it in Bourne. We settle in really nicely. We find the customers are nice and the people are nice, and we really enjoy it.
We've seen children growing, and now they're our customers.
Fantastic. So you've been here since I was a lad, since I was, I'm 32 now. I've been here the best part of 32 years myself. So you've been a mainstay of the town all the way through, and that just shows why people love living and working in Bourne and what the community is all about.
Fantastic. So, Lewis, tell us a little bit about what's coming up on next week's show for us.
Yeah, next week it's literally going to be a rose between two thorns. So Elaine's coming in from Shawmove, who are our local conveyancers, just a couple of doors down on North Street, and she's going to come in on Thursday evening live with us to do a live question and answer. Any questions you have about the conveyancing process, the legals, the bits which get complicated, the bits which we hate to talk about, Elaine's going to be here to have a simplified breakdown of how it works from somebody that knows, and indeed she'll be able to answer your questions live. So that'll be fantastic next week. Elaine's going to join us, and she's going to have a live question and answer session with us.
Fantastic. That's in direct response again from last week's broadcast, when we were talking about the costs involved in moving, and I think a lot of people were sort of quite shocked with how much the actual overall cost of moving was from selling a property, as we mentioned, at 150, bang at 220, 225, when they were taking into account things like stamp duty, which in the example we gave last week was over £2,000.
Yep.
So again, we're finding that getting these costs and these figures is being really useful for you out there, and these are the sorts of facts that you want to hear. So as we've always said, if there's anything else you want us to find out, if there's any other questions, burning questions you have, please send those in to us. Lewis, the email address for you is?
It's bournesales@hillclark.co.uk.
And the telephone number for you, Lewis?
01778 30069.
Fantastic. Well, as I say, it's been a pleasure broadcasting to you again this evening. Thanks again for all your involvement, as we say at the end of every show. This show is all about you. So we will very much look forward to seeing you again this time next week. Thank you very much indeed, everybody.
Good evening. Of course, the standard shot.